Hi everyone, my name is Nicole. I'm a somatic practitioner and coach, and today I want to offer you a practice to use when maybe you've done some deep personal work and it might have been a little bit too much, you're feeling overwhelmed. So this can sometimes happen after practices like EMDR, some somatic practices, some intense breath work, or releasing exercises. And sometimes these exercises can bring up a lot of intensity. And when that happens, it's really important to give our bodies time to settle and integrate. It can be tempting because we're so uncomfortable to want to do more of that exercise to get rid of how we're feeling. But we actually want to pause with the intensity and offer support and grounding and containment, which is what we're going to do today. And believe me, I've been through this myself. Sometimes things can feel worse before they start to get better. And yeah, you can feel anxious or really flat or overwhelmed or shaky. So we're going to bring in some support for you today. And this doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong, but we do want to give it time. And then next time you want to do a little bit less. So, next time we're going to scale it back a little bit. So we'll do a little bit of nervous system first aid today. And then after we've done this practice, you can notice what was helpful for you, and then you can bring that in throughout your day. And then also, as you're going through this, think about how you can really support yourself. So that could be like having a warm drink that you like. It could be a hot bath or a hot shower, maybe wrapping yourself up in some really comfortable clothes or wrapping a blanket around tight, being in a favorite spot in nature, being around people that you like and that feel good, or bringing in an animal. So bring that in where you can to really support yourself. Okay, now with that said, we'll get started. So the first thing I want you to do is you can find yourself in a seated position. You can be on the floor like me. I'm sitting on a cushion. You can also do this from a chair, and really either works. A chair might actually be really helpful if you're really feeling like you need the support, of a say of the back of a chair. So go ahead and do that. And then the first thing I want you to do is just notice your seat. So just give yourself a little rock and notice the weight shifting from left to right from your hips. And then if your feet are on the ground, we're going to press the feet into the ground. Or if you're seated like me, you can just stay like this. And then we're going to take the hands on the thighs and we're going to press into the thighs. Okay, so feet are on the ground, start pressing the feet into the ground, and now start pressing down the thighs. And then just hold that. Good. And then just slowly release that. Yeah, nice work. Okay, so this is just bringing us back into our body. And then just take a look around and notice where you are. And now we're going to do some containment. Okay, so this can provide a feeling of safety to the body. So take a look at the hands and give them a little wiggle. Notice where they are. And you could even say to yourself out loud or in your head, these are my hands and they belong to me. Okay, and just notice how they move. And then shift your focus to your right hand. Take a look at that. We're going to bring the right hand either under the left armpit or on top. So you choose. So bring that hand over to the side and just take a breath into that. Just notice what it's like to breathe. And then we're going to take the left hand and we're going to wrap it around the upper arm. So this is a self hold. And then if you're in a chair and you have a back, like a back of the chair, lean into that. So you're feeling really supported and contained from all these different angles. And then just really notice the chair, the floor holding you up. See if you can even drop your weight into that more. You could even kind of move something's holding me up. And then notice how tight you want to have this hold, or if you want it looser. And everything in this video is a choice. You get to choose what works and you get to say no to what doesn't. So just take a couple breaths here. Notice what that's like. And if it's helpful, you can bring in like a really gentle rock. And maybe your digestive system relaxes a little bit and you have a little burp like I just did. Okay, and then we're going to just slowly release that. So just really slowly release that. And if you want, you can bring your hands back to your thighs. Notice if it feels nice to just rub the thighs a little bit. Okay. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to provide a little bit of containment and support to the head. So we're going to bring one hand to the forehead, to our prefrontal cortex, and then we're going to bring one hand to the back of our head, kind of like where you would hold and support a baby's head. And then just notice what that's like. And maybe you can even imagine a line being drawn between the two hands, or if there was a gold thread. And maybe bring in the intention with the hands that they're here to support. They're bringing in kindness, and they're here to listen. And maybe notice, bring your attention to the hand on the forehead. Maybe just notice the temperature of the forehead, the shape. And maybe if you imagine what was underneath there, is it light? Is it dark? Is it warm? Is it busy? Just imagining that. And then bringing the attention to the hand on the back of the head. And see if you can really just let the neck and the head relax into that hand. And just notice what that's like to feel that support and the weight dropping into the hand. Okay, and then we're just going to drop that. All right, and then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to just really feel the connection of our feet. So a lot of the times, whether we're feeling really disconnected or anxious, a lot of pressure is going to be in the upper body if we're anxious. And then if we're feeling disconnected, this can help build connection to our surroundings and to the body again. So feet are going to be on the ground. So if you're seated in a chair, this might be a little bit easier, but you can do this if you're on the ground too. And I just want you can look at your feet. You can even say, hello, feet. These are my feet. And give the toes a little wiggle. And maybe you want to imagine that you're on a beach and you're wiggling your toes in some sand. You could imagine the temperature of the sand, the color. Maybe even imagine some pleasant noises that might be around. But keep your toes wiggling. Okay. And then we're going to bring in some rocking. So you're going to go front to back with your feet and just notice what that's like. And notice what it's like to even slow it down. And you can use more pressure if that feels good, really pushing your feet down. You can do it nice and light. So you get to choose. Good. Just bring in some space and awareness into the feet, into the lower body, and really feeling the connection of the ground and the pressure. There's kind of a comfort to gravity, knowing that we're held down, we're not floating. So really feeling this connection of gravity, or this force of gravity, and connecting to it as we play around with it. Maybe notice if your weight shifts a little bit. And you can take a look around your space as well. Okay, and then just let that settle. Okay, and then just come back to your normal seated position, whatever that was. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to orient. So this is a practice developed by Peter Levine, who's kind of a pioneer in working with trauma. And so what we're doing here is we're using our eyes to signal to our bodies that we're safe, okay? So as you do this, you can start looking around the room. And if it's too much to look around the room, you can just let your eyes settle on a pleasant object and see what that's like, okay? And choose something pleasant that you like looking at. As you look around the room, I want you to actually say hello and then what the object is. So it could be like, hello, couch. Hello, picture of a mountain. Hello, rocking chair. You could even look up, look behind you. Hello, roof. Hello, wall. And you can say this in your head, but you could also say it out loud if you're comfortable, because it's nice to hear your own voice in the room. So notice hearing your own voice in the room if you're saying it out loud. Okay, and then start turning the head the other way and just notice what it's like to turn. And now when we go this way, I want you to notice colors. So you could notice and really be specific about the colors. So you could say midnight blue, warm yellow, kind of a weathered white, teal, bubblegum pink. Sounds like there's a lot of colors in this room, but they're just small ones, small pieces of color. Okay, and then look behind you. Maybe you've got a nice white wall like I do. Just say, hello wall, hello white wall, and just notice that. And then slowly come back to center, okay? Letting your eyes kind of drift around the room and notice what they kind of are attracted to, what they find interesting. And then coming back to center, okay? All right. And then if you're still feeling a bit ungrounded, I would really encourage you, one thing that can be really helpful is just the self-hold. Another thing you can do, grab a pillow, or you can like roll up a blanket or a coat or something, and you can try hugging that. So try that after the video, see if that helps. And that's it for today. I hope this was helpful. You can do it as many times as you want. And if you're needing more support, there's a couple ways you can do that. You can find a link to my biweekly newsletter below, or I also offer one-on-one work, can be really helpful if you're needing that extra support. Thank you so much for watching. You can leave a comment, give me a like, and I will see you again soon. Bye, everyone.